Salesforce Certified Integration Architecture Designer exam dumps are the best material for you to pass and get certified. Share some Salesforce Integration Architecture Designer exam dumps here. 1. Universal Containers, UC, stores inventory of products in one Salesforce org. UC wants regional and local branch offices who have their own Salesforce orgs to see the latest information about the product. What is the recommended approach to provide data access? A. Use Heroku Connect to provide access to products as external objects from other orgs. B. Use Salesforce Connect with OData to provide access to products as external objects. C. Use Apex HTTP callouts to call Salesforce REST APIs and provide access restrictions within the Apex class. D. Use Cross-org Adapter for Salesforce Connect to provide access to products as external objects. 2. Universal Containers requires Salesforce to send expense data to an accounting system. Each user has their own username, password credential to access the account system via integration. What is a recommended option for an integration approach from a security perspective? A. Set up a named principal named credential and have the administrator set up the username, password. B. Set up a per-user named credential and have the users each set up their username, password. C. Fire outbound messages to a middleware that stores the credentials instead of an Apex callout. D. Use hierarchical custom settings to store the username, password allowing the Apex callout to read it. 3. Universal Containers would like their end users to be able to periodically import lists of leads into the Salesforce lead object. What tool should an architect recommend to support this? A. Bulk Web to Lead. B. Data Import Wizard. C. Salesforce Workbench. D. Salesforce Data Loader. 4. Universal Containers would like to ensure that the server and client-side app's identity is mutually authenticated for all integrations. Which two of the integration patterns below support such authentication? A. Apex callout to the client-side app with the callout payload encrypted with custom Apex code. B. Outbound message received by client-side app that uses a Salesforce-provided client certificate. C. Apex callout with the client-side app that provides Salesforce with a CA-signed client certificate. D. Outbound message sent to a client-side app endpoint defined with a per-user named credential. 5. Universal Containers, UC, has an ERP application where all customer orders are stored. There are millions of customers' orders stored in the ERP application and a longtime customer may have thousands of individual orders. Additionally, some order information may house personally identifiable information that, due to company policy, can only be stored in ERP. UC would like the 5 most recent orders displayed on the account page in Salesforce. How should an architect design this requirement considering both security and scalability? A. Leverage Salesforce Connect to display order information in Salesforce. B. Write an outbound message to receive orders from ERP system as they are created. C. Build a scheduled ETL job to sync all customer order history in the orders object. D. Leverage the REST API to receive orders from the ERP system as they are created. 6. Universal containers is hearing complaints from users that recently released changes while they meet the functional requirements are not actually usable and/or do not meet their expectations for user experience. For example, a Visualforce page that takes too long to display the first page of data. Which two types of testing should a technical architect implement to reduce or eliminate the complaint? Choose two answers. A. User acceptance testing. B. Unit testing. C. Regression testing. D. Performance testing. 7. Universal Containers has just purchased large volume of contact data from an external vendor. The head of sales would like to use the new data set within the existing production org. The production org currently contains a large volume of contacts. What should an architect recommend to prevent data duplication in Salesforce? A. Load the data into Salesforce and then utilize the contact duplicate rule feature. B. Utilize an off-platform deduplication tool prior to loading. C. Create a deduplication trigger before loading the data. D. Utilize a batch Apex process to deduplicate the data after loading. 8. Universal Containers is planning to develop a native mobile app for their employees to interact with Salesforce. Which two options should the architect recommend? A. Leverage Identity Product. B. Leverage SOAP API. C. Leverage Message Queue Product. D. Leverage REST API. E. Leverage Identity Product. 9. Universal Containers would like to use a hard-coded username, password, security token of a user with a system administrator profile to integrate its back-end system to Salesforce for inbound API calls. Which two security issues are associated with this approach? A. All back-end systems get uncontrolled access to any data within the Salesforce environment. B. Unintended password resets will cause the integration to stop working and disrupt business processes. C. Apex Web Services can executive with system privileges with such Salesforce credentials. D. Unsecure storage of the credentials may result in hackers gaining unauthorized access to Salesforce. 10. Universal Containers has a data warehouse system that collects information from upstream systems in order to do proprietary reporting. Every day there are several thousand record insertions and updates in Salesforce that might be of interest to this data warehouse. Reports in the data warehouse are run at the end of the month. What is a recommended way to transfer record insertions and updates to the data warehouse? A. Use the SOAP API's getUpdated method to retrieve changed record IDs, then retrieve records. B. Use scheduled Apex to do an Apex callout to the data warehouse. C. Use native outbound message functionality to send a message with each record change. D. Use a trigger to do an Apex callout to the data warehouse with each record change.